What's up, everybody? Drew Cappuccino here. Hey, listen, another episode of the Stories of the ParaNow. Today, if you like what you see, go to that Google box, click on the YouTube, 216 Creator Studios, like, share, subscribe, ding the bell for future notifications. We appreciate your support. It's been a long time.
It has been quite a while. It's so good to be back in the studio and talking about some really interesting stuff here for those of you who it's been too long for, or those of you who are new. I'm Mai.
I'm Sebastian.
And if you've been here before, you may recognize a new face. This is our buddy, Tyler. He's going to be joining us. Go ahead and say hi, man.
That's right. I have consumed Nikki and gained his power.
Big Nicky's in the house.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. You've all made a terrible mistake that you will not live to regret.
Oh my gosh, it's so good to have you, man. But we have a couple different topics to talk about today. And we're actually going to be starting with Sebastian's. What are you talking about?
Well, just to kind of get right into it, I am going to be talking about an very, very haunted island that before probably last week I had never heard of, and it is called Hashima Island, and I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. I was just kind of scrolling around and digging, doing some, search on just haunted locations in general. And then I eventually started to see more and more about islands. And I thought that's kind of when you think of, ghost towns, essentially, which is where my search started. Like, that's pretty creepy enough to just imagine yourself by yourself in the middle of...
In a town?
Yeah, like, you typically...
Full of ghosts?
Yeah.
Oof.
Is that an actual picture?
Yeah,
it looks like an illustration.
That's a place
Is that
of
not
note.
just from a Junji Ito novel?
It is not.
It does look like it's from a...
It looks like it looks straight out of the cover of Uzumaki.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is a really popular anime artist whose art looks eerily similar to that.
Ooh.
And all he does is horror. He has a show on Netflix now, but some of his older mangas and comics are just...
I think it's on HBO.
Is it on HBO?
Yeah, I think it's on Max.
Wow.
I'm not 100% sure, but...
Well, it's out there for you to watch.
It's a big
Yeah,
player.
the first episode is amazing, and the second episodes are also there.
But anyway.
But anyway.
Feel free to send the check to 216 Creator Studios.
Absolutely.
Shout out. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
But no.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to give out prod for free.
It's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. No, it's all good.
So, but when I started digging more around islands, because usually when you think of ghost towns, you think it's usually an old mining town. And this is also an old mining, but it's an island. So, but I think an isolated location like an island compared to a desert, there's just something that is more just eerie, creepy, all of the buzzwords, like when it comes to just haunted, spooky location. I think that is heightened when it's on an island.
Well, yeah, because one is like a town that can hold a population of 700, and the other one is a freaking island.
Well, I think, like, my brain goes to more extremes. It's like, well, if you just encounter a ghost, you can kind of just run in a random direction, and eventually you might feel safer. An island, you do not have that luxury.
You're gonna do swim away.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because I believe this island is about 9 or 10 miles away from off of the coast of Nagasaki.
Yeah.
And it has a very long and very complicated, well, maybe not complicated, but deep history, where in the late 1800s, early 1900s, it was discovered as a coal mining island. They discovered the depositories and started, mining the coal. And then you start moving into kind of World War II era, where it was a POW camp, and across however many World War II stories, that's where the darkness kind of comes in.
That's
it's
where the
just
ghosts?
how they that's where the just dark, like I said, the darkness kind of comes in, because supposedly a lot of bad stuff happened there. Prisoners were treated horribly. They were forced to do the mining work under very harsh conditions. And then even after that, it was still used as just a common coal mining island. And I believe until around the 70s, 80s, and that's when it just, buildings falling apart, depositories started running out. And
I mean, look at it though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is just a small bomb
Yeah.
away
And-
from just getting rid of the problem.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you look at it and it's like, yeah, it's just falling apart. Like, and it's very shades of Alcatraz, where it's just
Yeah.
existed for a long time. This is probably older than Alcatraz, I believe.
It
But
doesn't look real. It
Yeah.
looks like it was made for like a video game asset.
yeah, because it developed over time, and just people would live there and work there for months, years on end.
Mhm.
And in modern day, where you start to hear a little bit more about it, is like, if you scroll down a little bit, I believe there's a blurb, but the kind of controversy around it is how to essentially treat this island in terms of its history. Because on one side you have Japan, who treats it as, oh, this is a part of our great industrial boom. This was very a big area, well-known area for how much it did to us economically, financially. But then you have the dark past of it,
Mhm.
and that's where you get people who are very upset about it, of the way it's being treated. And just it's probably within the last decade where that has come into play, of just how to essentially treat this very small but historical location.
Mm.
And because you're talking about 100 years of history, even more.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
And
that's crazy.
Well,
on
it
this,
says it's 9 stories high, and it was strong enough to protect people against or inside against the numerous typhoons.
yeah, but
which have
that's the
hit
thing.
island.
That's the thing.
So
is,
it's done good, but it has a dark side.
it is, and
Mm.
part of that dark side is even the buildings itself were built by the POWs.
Oh, wow.
And
Oh.
That's
Oh.
it again. And for an island that isolated,
So this is bad mojo all
Yeah.
the way
This
down.
is, yeah,
Who
this
knows-
is built with negative vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
the
who
bo-
knows
the bones of this island are
yeah, and who knows what happened, especially
Yeah.
on an ice. I mean, you go back that far in history, especially during even World War II, and there's still things being uncovered.
Yeah.
When you're on an isolated location like this, there are things that'll never be discovered.
Yeah.
Imperial
Never be
Japan,
uncovered.
famous both for not particularly famous for either its treatment of prisoners or transparency.
Yeah, and when that's a part of its history, how do you treat this island? Like,
Mm.
calling it a historical site,
Like a landmark.
in a
Yeah.
landmark, that's not the quite title you give it.
It feels a little insensitive.
Yeah, it's almost like you said, Drew, you want to just like
Sink it.
sink it
Yeah.
and just leave it alone. So,
And yet,
and yet it is here, haunted with Lord knows how many spirits, with that dark past that exists. And I believe that there are many things where, like, people say that they see flickering lights, even though there's no electricity on the
Yeah.
island. They see, shadows of people, all sorts of just creepy images. And I mean, it's believable with an isolated, at least in my opinion, like I said, when I was just looking at ghost towns and all sorts of haunted locations, that's where I think an island is just a little bit more fascinating, like this and Alcatraz, etc.
Yeah.
There's tons of abandoned islands.
well,
that-
Alcatraz too, one of the most famously haunted places in America.
Yeah. And I think that one is just because I think Alcatraz is a bigger area,
Yeah.
and it was at least more open to the public for a long time, just up
Has this one
until
ever been?
I
open to the
think there is a little bit about it. But it's more under extreme caution. Like, I think Alcatraz, they stopped doing tours just because it was falling apart
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
not safe.
Yeah.
And that was a prison, so that's what you think of it. Like, of course, it's going to
Yeah.
have a lot of bad mojo around it because it was a prison, and who knows what happened.
Well, this
there.
was also a prison.
Yeah, and this was also a prison, and called Hell Island, called the Devil's Island,
Yep.
and such like that.
Mm.
And this
Hell Island is an incredible band name.
yeah, yeah, but I just think that this is fascinating, just because it is, to this day, they don't know what to make of it,
Yeah.
and they don't know how to treat it. Again, with Alcatraz, it's a tourist site. It's, or at least it was until recent years.
Yeah.
But this, they just don't know they don't know what to do with, and they don't know how to label it.
I mean,
Gotcha.
don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure to bring in another World War II example, I'm pretty sure there are still some concentration camps in Germany that have been kept open for largely the same reason, sort of the idea of never forgetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like years ago in Poland, I visited, or I wasn't even old enough to visit it, but they had one. So it's, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just to kind of keep it as a reminder, but
Yeah.
Japan doesn't see this as a reminder of
Right.
its dark history, but other countries do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just in a weird place. But
Yeah.
I think with that, it almost makes it, you know, a more interesting haunted location, just because it's so isolated and it looks so terrifying. to be
So,
honest.
I mean, if you look at the bottom row windows from left to right, 1, 2, 3, do you see something in that window?
The third one, yeah, the third bottom or third
Yep.
one on the bottom row.
Yep.
Yeah, that could
Looks
be
like-
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what that is.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, you know.
That's
Okay, so here let me throw out my 2 cents a little bit. First of all, awesome find.
Yeah.
Alcatraz too also has history
Yeah.
of hauntings as well. So this is where I go, when is enough? When is it time to move forward from the darkness and just put it under the water? I understand that there's a history to it, but that history is already known, and that history is already logged in the books. Why keep the place, especially if it's quote unquote home to demons, right? Like that, isn't it just like opening a can of worms?
Well, here's the thing about Japan, though, is that they have a strange relationship with their their spirit, what they
Allegedly,
view as the
yeah.
spirit world, and their yokai.
Yeah.
So, like, they do keep that sort of thing pretty frequently. If it means that they keep peace with the spirit world, again, it's not.
So they're not
particularly
stirring
my
the pot
belief.
with the juju.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
I gotcha.
yeah. So, like that. I'm not saying that is the reason, but I do know that they're a lot more spiritual than we are here in America. So that could potentially be something that they're keeping up for one of those reasons. Other than the other more obvious reason would be that'd be an expensive thing to destroy.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell of a
probably.
video to watch though.
Oh, I would watch
Just an
that
just an entire island
over
getting
and over.
So, just let's go around the table real quick. Would you, Seabass? Would you spend the night there?
Oh God, I was hoping you'd say just visit it, but spend the night. Who no?
Night.
If there's like 1,000 people, maybe, but not by myself.
Would you? Okay, if you were just gonna go visit there, would you do it at night?
Ooh, if it was like a like with other like tourists, then yeah.
You're
At
like
night, yeah.
enough. Get behind the
I need
shield
enough-
kind of thing.
I need enough
Operation,
people
there's more
around me.
people
I
to
don't have
drop
to
around
outrun
me.
the bear. I just have to outrun you.
Yeah.
It's like if there's people
They
that
can't
I'm
haunt all of us.
if there's people that I'm faster than, yes, and I could run away from the evil horrors, then yes.
The evil horrors, you say?
Yeah.
Miley, you are multicultural.
Yeah.
So, how about you? Because I know you have different beliefs. The different cultures that you're part of, you have different beliefs as well.
Yeah.
What's your opinion to this? And would you spend the night there and or visit at night?
You know, because I have so many backgrounds, I am conflicted on whether or not I would want to do that.
Just pick the one that
I-
says "fuck no."
Honestly, I hate to say it. A big part of me is like, I probably would just to say
could
that
see
I
you-
did
I
it.
could see you doing
Just to say that I did it. And that's like the part of me that is like self-destructing. It's like, yes, go to
let's
the
just do
haunted
it.
island
that. So you would be part of the crowd that's
that he's running past.
Right. Operation Get Behind Miley.
Yeah.
Um,
Throw her to the beast.
Right. What about you, T?
Oh hell yeah,
Yeah, you would.
yeah. Why not?
Okay. Well, hey, man, that's pretty brave.
I don't. I don't.
He's
So
more
if-
scared of the raccoons.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Honestly, I would be more worried about like whatever sort of wildlife is on there than any sort of like paranormal stuff.
I'm with you on that.
It's like I don't know. Maybe I'm giving away the lead a little bit here, but I'm not. If there are ghosts, I don't think they can hurt people.
I agree.
Because I don't think that there would be like I don't think there would be any white people left if ghosts could hurt people.
Right.
I just don't think that there would be.
Right.
Like,
we're just gonna drop that
Yeah.
hardcore right now.
I'm sorry. I mean,
no, that's all right. Hey, listen, your opinion matters. your opinion
I
matters.
just like I think we'd all be dead. Like
Heard,
straight
Chef.
up. Like,
So here's the thing. This is where I think you and I have a lot in common. Not one time have you ever turned on the TV and it said 3 people died from a ghost today.
yeah.
And I think that you give it more power by the strength of belief and fear by doing it. I'm one. Listen, if it bleeds, I'll kill it. That's how I am.
Mhm.
Would I spend the night there? I probably wouldn't do it solo because it is creepy.
Yeah.
You know, and do I believe in mystical things? Yeah, I got a belief to it. I also have a realistic scientific belief to a lot of things as well.
Yeah.
So I think that the juju on this island is because to me would be based on all the fear that's already been given and all the trauma that was there.
Yeah.
Is giving it the power of whatever's in your own mind
Mm.
that would be fearful to it. So
Yeah, the only reason that I wouldn't stay here is because I like suck at survival camping, and I don't think that like.
oh, I got you then. We'll
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
I mean, I know how to camp, but like I always like that was.
I'd
I
be
did
more
not do
afraid
well
of
with
the
my wilderness
government.
survival badge.
I'd be more afraid of the government being like, "What are you doing here?"
What-
And
what-
then
and then them
right.
showing up.
and then that'd be like, "Oh, you're from America. Come with us."
Yeah.
Also,
you know what
like
I mean?
for what it's worth, like camping on an island seems like a nightmare because like what if the boat doesn't show up?
Fair enough.
Like you got enough food for 2 days. What if that boat doesn't show up?
Yeah.
That's a long swim.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
That,
not
that,
a possible swim for me.
yeah, that reminds me of the movie The Lighthouse. It's like, how
Oh.
long have we been here? 5 weeks or 2
Right.
days?
Yeah. So what I'm hearing here is that we have no, unless people are there to be
Unless he,
thrown
has,
at them.
unless he has people he can eat. Let's
yeah,
be honest.
yeah.
Let's
Right.
keep this.
Right.
And
Let's
then
keep it a buck.
and then we have yes, hoping she sees a demon, and then yes, thinking they will not.
Right. Yes. Awesome. Well, I mean, there's so first of all, great story though.
Awesome
Oh,
story.
absolutely. Yeah.
Love
You know.
it. That was
It,
I love a good haunted location.
yeah.
I'd be more terrified to visit here or spend the night here than Alcatraz.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's smaller is
Yeah.
the worst
Yeah,
part.
and also there's just like a much smaller amount of like people in Hawaiian shirts and cargo shorts.
Yeah.
Which is generally my stance on like whether or not a place is actually
Yeah.
scary.
Hey, my house is very scary, and I wear that all the time.
I'm not
Allegedly.
saying, all right. You know very well what I mean.
I know. I'm kidding.
All right.
fun
Up
stuff.
next, what do we got, Mike?
Up next, we have a glitch in the system, a question of reality. We have a quick TikTok to bring us into the discussion.
A glitch in the Matrix.
Oh.
No.
Is this this Mandela effect stuff? Is this-
No.
So you got to watch.
Hey.
It, right?
It was Berenstain Bears.
It's a Berenstain Bears.
I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
I understand.
I'm sorry.
No, I understand. No, this one, I know that that's an easy thing to go when it's like glitch in the system. No, this one actually is like a, huh.
All right, let's
Okay.
All right.
let's
Here we go.
I will withhold my judgment. Let's see.
Mhm.
I'm watching this dude through the mirror,
Might not be able to see it.
right? And his face is moving, but look at that, his face just moved, but the guy in the mirror seemed the same. Yo, the Matrix is broken. I'm watching this.
Okay.
I love it.
So
I'm not 100% sure what I just saw.
Okay.
I love
so
it.
it's a little bit hard to see because
It
it's
is.
on a smaller screen up there.
Yeah.
But essentially, if you pull that video up on your phone, and the viewers can probably just like zoom in and
you'll
like,
see the link below.
yeah. When you're watching the video, you'll see like he zooms in a little bit on the guy in his car, and he's like moving around. You know, you're in your car. You're not sitting at the light like this. You're like moving around a bit. Him in his rear view mirror is moving, but then in his side mirror, no matter how he moves, it just stays.
Oh,
Okay.
It just
His image
stays.
does not move.
It does
Right.
not move.
Okay.
He even like looks over and like face position is like this essentially, and it just
Okay.
remains the exact same way.
Okay.
And And for me, even over the stupid music, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
I was gonna bring up the music.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. Here's the
It's
thing.
the best
Shout
part.
out to Apple Pro Tools, baby. I know what that is.
Yeah. Well, here's what that is specifically, because oftentimes, especially when I'm trying to find stuff for the podcast or just trying to find things in general that is like paranormal related, that song is on there all the time, and I can't believe it any time it's on there.
Because
but
it's spoopy.
because it's
spooky
spooky.
xylophone.
But in this instance, I think it was, if you look at the actual page, it has like tons of videos, and it looks like they source like other people's videos, put the music on top, and then post it to their own stuff.
That's very true.
Yeah. So in this case, I was like,
they got a trademark.
they got the do.
This is their world star. They got the.
So now I've seen it where that glitch in a big mirror.
Yeah.
On videos to where somebody's doing something and it's mirrored.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's one tiny thing that's glitched to it. And it was like, find the glitch. And you're like, holy crap. You know, you're looking at it, you look at it again. And then I see these things too, to where they're like, all right, I'm going to hold this giant piece of cardboard up to the mirror. And I want you to film me. How does the mirror know what I'm doing behind the cardboard? And as they come to the side, you could see the finger and doing what he's doing behind the cardboard.
Yeah.
How does the mirror know from a direct view? Right? It's a little bit weird.
Okay.
And so this is where it can go 1,000 different directions, right? Is it a glitch? Is it dimensional? A lot of people say that mirrors are the gateways to another dimension,
another world, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. What are your thoughts? You found it. So what are your thoughts to it?
So I don't really know. I'm like, I'm a big philosophy person, and like, I think we could just be heads and vats. I fully believe that theory could be real. And I've seen, this is not the first video that I've seen like this, where they've like taken a video of something in their daily life and something weird is happening. I've watched like 2 videos of like a clear, no windy day, and someone like is recording, and they like pan up and it's a bird flying in place, not moving, just flapping, going nowhere, just stuck in place.
Yeah, AI is a bitch, ain't it?
Yeah.
Because you don't know anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's so good.
Yeah.
That it can do anything. And now you look at all the UFO stuff that's really kind of popping up, and you're like,
in New Jersey.
I don't know, do I believe in I would be very ignorant not to think, or very selfish to think that we are the only ones in such a great space. Right?
Yeah.
But now it's like, listen, stop making shit. So give us the real answers, right? Stop making stuff for the attention and the views. So I don't know. It's a good one though. It's a good video. When you see the side mirror, and like I said, like you said, it's a hard time to see it on there.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that we could just be heads and vats, and I think it's interesting to see people catch stuff like that, especially when it's just in the wild.
Does that kind of go with the in the 1930s boxing match, there was a guy recording it with his iPhone in the
Yeah.
There are a lot of variations of those.
A lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Or
Time travel.
Underneath sand and stone, as they're digging up some fossils and bones, they find an iPad that's set in stone, kind of thing.
Imagine time traveling, but like still needing to bring an iPad. Man, that shit might be boring. I need to keep.
Well, yeah.
But okay,
I downloaded all my shows from Netflix.
Let's go a little bit deeper than that. Imagine being able to time travel and then choosing to use an iPad.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Period.
Maybe it's
like
maybe
having
it's like,
an iPad.
Maybe it's like one of those things where it's like you're giving like a Victorian kid a Dorito or something like that. Like you're just like
Right. Blue is mine.
Yeah, bringing like modern food
paradox,
back like
instant
100
paradox.
years would be interesting.
All right, if y'all could give a Victorian child one snack.
Oh, Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms?
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good one.
Insert cereal here.
Cereal.
Like,
just
I'm
cereal
going Flamin' Hot Cheetos. I want to see how he's gonna react to capsaicin.
I'm gonna go linger. Linder chocolate.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yo,
good
you
one.
would ruin the boy.
I know.
I think
How could he go back?
What if you
Mission
kid-
accomplished?
How could he go back to the mines,
Right,
Drew?
he would not be able to.
What if you give him like a Happy Meal
oh that'd be
Oh, my
rough.
God.
with a
You
Lightning
know-
McQueen car?
You know what?
Ka-chow.
I would give them nachos. I would
just like
I
full,
would
just like a
confuse
full
them.
plate of nachos
I
Bel
would
Grande.
no, like or like
Show
I
them
would-
how to
Hell
eat
yeah.
the nachos.
or I would just give them literally any ethnic food.
What about Dippin' Dots?
That would
The ice cream of the future given
Well,
to
I mean,
a child
listen,
from the past.
we're talking Victorian era, right? So how
Yeah.
about just a cooked steak? You know what I mean?
a loaf of bread.
Right, like right.
Let's just give him some garlic powder and see what happens.
If you
Ooh.
if you gave a
Just a thing of Tony Chachere's and just
There you go.
just
Little
see how-
barbecue action.
see the butterfly effect play out.
if you gave a Victorian child a Lunchable, how long until they figure out how to properly eat it?
I don't think they.
He'll come
I
back to you
don't.
in 5 seconds. Like, why isn't this microwaved? Someone else got to him first.
I don't know if they would look at a Lunchable and think it's edible. I gotta level with you.
I'm gonna go with you on that. As a matter of fact, I think that if they did eat it, it would be instant shit in your pants.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, like so processed. You know,
The human body was not built to handle that much
Right.
nacho-y flavor.
you give a kid a Big Mac, and
oh my god.
I think
it would fall apart before they eat it.
That would make for an incredible YouTube video. Victorian child tries different fast food hamburgers.
that would be awesome.
Victorian child takes a Big Mac, puts it on the shelf until today, and it still
There-
looks normal.
There are certain parts of England that we could go to recreate this.
That sounds like fun. I mean,
There are certain parts of America that we could go to.
Derbyshire over Dover, whatever.
Seabass, what do you think of the video?
Well, I was kind of ratcheting in my brain. I'm like, I've seen like I don't know if you'd call it a trope of like the mirrors of like the real side doing a thing and then it just suddenly freezing.
Mm.
And this sounds like total nerd stuff, but I was thinking of Silent Hill 3. One of the most terrifying rooms in that game is
Hell yeah.
it's literally called the
Yeah.
mirror room.
The mirror room.
And there's no sound, almost no sound. And it's just you're kind of spinning around in circles. You can't get out of the room, and then all of a sudden, it's just your player character in the mirror just stops, and it's like I don't know what to do. It's just a random room that has nothing to do with anything in the entire game, but it's just a creepy room.
It is so.
God, I hope they don't ruin the Silent Hill 3 remake.
Spoiler alert.
I'm just saying.
It's so eerie when because we think mirrors are supposed to work a specific way, even in like games. So when it doesn't,
Yeah,
it's just
mirrors are hard enough to work in
freaky.
video games. In period, I think that's just why it's a solo room because mirrors, in especially a game that's 20 years old, I think at this point, like mirrors were hard
mhm.
to get right in video games without it just bugging out
Right.
into existence. And
There is something to do. There is like something to the idea of like using like those kind of limitations to your advantage to create like horror.
yeah.
yeah. Oh gosh, we need to find like a haunted video game to.
I tried.
cover on here. I know you did.
I tried.
I know you did. I know you tried your best, but we'll
I
find
thought
one.
that's what I was going for.
Yeah, and there's also I was also thinking about the movie Mirrors
Mhm.
with Kiefer Sutherland. Have you ever heard of it?
No,
It's
Kiefer Sutherland, Jack
Bauer 2024.
He was in
Anyway.
he was in Stand By Me. You ever see that?
We're playing another game of My Doesn't Know.
He was the
Alright.
voice of a bunch. Anyway, so that's a movie about how it's a burnt down mall where people died in, and he's a security guard, and he just sees horrible stuff in these mirrors of like, because I think that's a trigger is like people their souls get trapped in mirrors.
Mhm.
I think something
I
like
have
that.
not seen this film.
That's like I'm just talking about. That's a common trope is like your
Oh,
soul
sure.
gets trapped in
Yeah.
a mirror,
Yeah.
and
Kinda
that takes that
yeah.
to like a
Yeah.
cheesy horror premise, but it's
Kind of like
that uses that concept.
kind of like Picture of Dorian Gray, like the Oscar Wilde story where the person's soul gets trapped in the painting.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so that's
They're invincible until the painting gets destroyed.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's
I think I've heard variations of that where they use mirrors.
So that's what I was kind of ratcheting. It's like I feel like I've seen like the thing of like whether it's like your soul getting trapped or just like something's not like both
Something isn't
sides
right,
aren't
yeah.
synced up. So like like that's where the supernatural paranormal kind of stuff comes in.
Yeah.
Is when you see something,
Well,
even if it's
explain.
on like a very minor level, like a car mirror, like it just kind of happens every now and then.
Still the gateway,
It's
right?
still a gateway.
Still
yeah.
just disturbing. But what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. What do you mean?
You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it back up.
All right, yeah. No, let me. I want to actually see this. I
Walk
want
up
see
to the
this.
screen.
Yeah,
I wonder if
I will.
All right, hold on.
It's like
Dude
doesn't move.
through the mirror, right? And his face is moving, but look at that. His face just moved, but the guy in the mirror is staying the same.
You see, everything else is normal
Yo.
except for that mirror.
The matrix is broken.
I wish you would have kept it on. I wish you would have kept it on the camera for like 5 more seconds because
I know.
eventually, the side mirror does start moving.
But like for like a minute or 30 seconds,
Yeah,
it's just
I don't know.
he's going like this. The mirror's staying like this.
Look, I don't claim to know how our world works. I'm a man of pretty words. Science and numbers confuse and frighten me.
English baby.
So, yeah, absolutely.
I'm a
Um,
science guy.
So I would imagine like
Yeah.
there's probably like some kind of explanation, either that or because I swear to God, this is the first thing that I thought when I did this, because this is some shit that my dumbass would do, is that they put like a big sticker on that mirror of their face
But then he moves.
on like a Ricky Bobby thing. Yeah, I saw that now, so I
Yeah.
can't
Right.
like
you can't see that.
I don't know, maybe.
Well,
I don't
you know,
have an
years
explanation.
ago, if you were to tell somebody that if you walked around my Tesla and it filmed everything you did and can drive to pick me up, you would be like, you're insane, right? Now we have so much new technology, and once again, AI. Was that video, generated a little bit into the mirror? I don't know, maybe. Hard to tell. I'm with T on that. It's hard to say. I don't know how the world works either. I do know that for every action there's a reaction, right?
Right.
So if you
For
move
sure.
your head in a reflective surface, it's going to move,
Yeah.
and that didn't. So I don't know, because it was third party filming to somebody else's car.
Yeah.
Was that like, oh, I filmed it, and then, hey, let's see if we can get AI to do this thing and then pop it on TikTok? I don't know.
I don't know. I think one thing for me is that what would prompt the guy, because the guy was like mid talking when the video started,
Yeah.
He was.
So, but my thing is like, what would prompt him to start that talk, unless it was the plan to do it to begin with? But then he could have done
I've
it with
definitely been
anyone.
in situations where I've been like shouting with my friends or something and then pull out my phone to like record something like mid.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. The video, I'm going to be honest. I got nothing. I don't know.
Well, I'm
I
gonna first of all, I'll give a shout out to PG Stories official. It looks like that's the person who did this, right?
Good stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, man, well done.
They have some good stuff.
So good shout out to you. Thanks
If it's
for
a
letting
fake, it's a
us
good fake.
react.
Yeah.
If it is a fake, they did a great job.
You did
'cause
a
I'm
great job.
Deep cut.
yeah.
And it might not be a fake. I don't know.
No, they do have some good stuff on there. I was scrolling through their account, and they have some good stuff. So go check them out if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty cool. I love the fact that people are putting out content, even though it might be trickery or not trickery. It's still good,
Yeah.
and it makes you scratch your head a little bit, right?
Like you at least pause.
Right.
Pause.
right.
That's what you're looking for.
Or wait, no, hold on. Let me do the xylophone. Find different sounds for your glitch TikToks.
Please.
No, they
What I'm-
can't because they like the spoopy music.
No, find different
No, it's-
spooky music.
No.
is what I'm saying.
There's other spooky music. If it was on the C, it would be the yo ho.
Yeah.
Yo.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Maybe it's like a producer track. Maybe this is their version of "If Young Metro Don't Trust You, I'm gonna shoot you."
I'm not gonna flex or anything, but I mean, listen, our intro is fire. Our music is like the creepiest. So I'll give it to us on that one.
With the
Absolutely. Use our music and then pay us.
yeah.
Yes, use our music that we found for free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Found for free.
Trademark.
Source.
You gotta pay us now.
Right.
Absolutely.
And we do have an ASCAP license.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Right. Right.
But Moving right along.
all right.
Moving right along. Tyler, what you got for us?
So I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but this was not my first. This was not my first topic for today.
Mhm.
I had originally wanted to bring out something called Polybius, which was a arcade game, supposedly, allegedly, in Oregon in the 80s that caused people to have all these sort of seizure-like symptoms. And the story went that they would see these gentlemen in black suits with black hats and sunglasses coming in and taking data. And the story was that originally it was some sort of a government experiment. I'll save y'all the trouble because I did some research. It is an obvious hoax. It popped up on some forums in the 2000s. It was a place in the 80s. Like, it's a very easy thing to check. Like, people remember that arcade and they do not remember the Polybius system. The only interesting thing about it is that there is a Polybius game now. You can play it if you want to. But despite this being very easy to check, I remember as a kid for a long time, people believing that this was true. And the reason why is because it was always tied into this government project called MK Ultra. And this is what I wanted to bring to y'all today. I have a 20-year story of LSD, of mind control, and of the Unabomber.
Awesome.
Oh, okay.
So
Holy Trinity.
I got a little clip here from the BBC that gives kind of the broad strokes, and then I'll
Listen,
yeah.
when T comes aboard, he comes in hot.
I got heat,
Right?
baby.
That's all
Comes
good.
in hot.
Starting off
Love
strong.
it.
I got heat,
Good
baby.
stuff.
Always spicy, never mild.
Yeah.
All right, let's check it out. We got what are we gonna pick it apart as we go? We got a 7-minute clip.
Yeah, we don't gotta, and I can always once we get the broad strokes of it, I can.
You
take
let
it
me
from
know.
there.
You
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
know.
I was given a glass of Kool-Aid, and so were the other children. This Kool-Aid was spiked with LSD. It was horrible.
Can I stop that real quick?
Oh, absolutely.
This is where drinking the Kool-Aid term
Came
comes
from.
in play.
Kind of. Because drinking the Kool-Aid originally came from Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say
It came from the
Jim
Jones. It came from the Jonestown cult, and
That's right.
Jim Jones, a potential project MK Ultra participant.
That's cool.
When
It's-
I
We got the idea.
Allegedly.
we'll
I could
sprinkle
not.
that.
I
Sprinkle the alleged in there.
could sprinkle that over.
Yeah.
I could not find I will say this, he's on the Wikipedia page.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
An alleged inspiration to
Now-
spike the Kool-Aid.
Well, so allegedly he was one of the people that was given this at sort of the at the more fun experiments, because there were fun Project MK Ultra experiments, and there were much less fun Project MK Ultra
I'm
experiments.
sorry, but how much more, and I'm going to use this term loosely, fun than a glass of Kool-Aid with LSD does it get?
Well, so like I could just get into it. So like
Don't do drugs, kids.
hey, don't or do. I'm not.
What time
I'm
is
not a
it
cop.
now?
I'm a podcaster, not a cop. No, but basically the thing of it was that it was this broad branching government program that essentially was used to tackle the possibility of using LSD as a mind control drug.
Yeah.
And so they had various different ways that they went about that, which went from bringing it to college parties and like spiking the punch bowl
Okay.
to like dosing food of prisoners and mental patients.
Oh.
So the only thing that any of them had in common was that the people were given LSD without their knowledge.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you were in a position of sort of like power and influence and you wanted to get into one of these experiments, you would go to one of them where you knew you were being given LSD. The poet Alec Ginsberg was one of the people that was put into that sort of thing.
And we're not talking we're talking straight window pane. We're not talking
Absolutely.
like a diluted
No.
1990s rave double dip sugar cube.
This
type.
is neat.
Well, and the funny thing about that is that the original doctor who created LSD did it, and I want to say in like 1935, 1936, roughly. Don't quote me. I'm a very stupid man. But funnily enough, the U.S. government for the thing of this experiment actually purchased all of the LSD from the original lab. The first wave of LSD that came into the sort of culture that sparked the sort of like the sort of like summer of love movement, that all came from this experiment because they were the only ones that had it.
Yeah.
It was, at the time, it was A, not illegal, and B, unable to get if it was not through the government.
Yeah,
The video is going to say all of this too,
centralized
but
it,
I got it all up here as well.
Now you drink the Kool-Aid and go to the island. That's a bad day.
Absolutely. Hey,
See, that's where I wouldn't go.
What
You
you'll
couldn't pay
see.
me to do that.
I don't know
Absolutely.
You get
what
one or
you'll
the
see.
other.
You'll just see all
Just
sorts
so
of
you know,
nonsense.
and it was weird to me because I ran into somebody recently who, when they brought up the term drinking the Kool-Aid, he says, I don't drink the Kool-Aid. I just add my own sugar. I'm like, that makes
That's
no
cool.
goddamn sense.
What do you mean?
That's
Why are-
cool.
I'm
hey,
like,
my cyanide's going to be real sweet when it goes down, baby.
you make it your own Kool-Aid. That means you're screwing a bunch of people over too.
No, it's
so
my
it was the
Kool-Aid
first-
though.
Right. It was like,
It's like you have no concept of where this came from.
Yeah, seriously. But anyways, all right. So we'll continue on.
Yeah.
We'll continue on.
In the early days of the Cold War, the CIA ordered the creation of a secret program intended to find ways of mind control. They funded an army of psychiatric institutions across the United States and Canada to perform experiments on unsuspecting patients using psychedelic drugs, sensory deprivation, electroshock treatment, and more. The program was known by its codename, MKUltra. At the end of the Korean War, a number of freed American POWs came home seemingly brainwashed and espousing communist propaganda. American officials suspected that the soldiers had been subjected to what they thought were new communist mind control techniques.
Okay, when I was originally watching this video, this jumped out at me. This idea that this is where MK Ultra started, like really, I tried to find any sort of evidence for this, and I'm sure it exists. I'm sure that I just couldn't find it. But I always thought that sounded like the biggest like propaganda to me. Because like it was just like, oh yeah, no, the Soviets did it first. That's why we did it. When this just like reeks of something that like some higher ups around a room,
Somebody else did it first, and that's why we do it.
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's why it's all okay. Is because the Soviets did it first, right?
Bad
That's
guys
such a
did it
kid,
first.
kid logic of,
Simpsons
well,
did it
they
first.
did it,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I can't get in trouble.
Exactly. So I'm sure that it exists. I'm sure that I'm not claiming to be smarter than the British Broadcasting Corporation. I'm just, if you think like I do and you were like, that sounds funky,
It does.
I couldn't find it. I couldn't find that evidence in anywhere that I found like reasonable.
Yeah.
That's it. I just want to throw that little disclaimer.
Well,
out
and two, there
That's
was a big race to everything.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, they did it. They're gonna go to the moon. And that's a whole thing in itself. That's
Right.
a show in itself, obviously. But I agree with you. Like somebody else did it first, or to pass blame. Oh, it was okay if they did it, so we can do it. But these are people's lives, we're
Right.
messing with, right?
I mean,
and you get into some dark shit with this. Like
Yeah.
it's like I'll throw out a quick trigger warning here. Like this is not fun. Like this
Right.
story goes into some dark places. Like if you end up doing any more research into it, and you can, like a lot of the material was destroyed in the 70s, but some of it did survive, and a good chunk of it has been declassified over the years. You can look into this stuff yourself. Like guard yourself. It's not a good time.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll put it back up here.
Yeah.
Let's see where we go.
Alarmed by the situation, the newly formed CIA allocated $25 million for psychiatric experiments on human beings.
It was the most secret program ever conducted by the CIA in the United States. Patients at psychiatric hospitals, prisoners in federal institutions, and even people
But
in the public were given drugs
it is
without their awareness or consent and experimented upon.
Initial projects within MKUltra included Operation Midnight Climax,
They established what were called safe houses, where prostitutes would lure men to these apartments. And then once the men were in the apartments, they were dosed with LSD. And then they were basically studied by CIA scientists, usually behind a two-way mirror.
Another common practice was the hosting and observing of LSD-induced parties.
So before we get to the new rave, men were lured to these places by prostitutes. So, and then they would dose them.
Yeah.
And then behind a mirror, there was like the government watching to see what they do.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
That's messed
Oh yeah.
up.
And you'll see a lot of these different experiments. They would find people who couldn't leave. They would use prisoners. They would use people in mental hospitals. They would use experiments like these where you didn't leave and you couldn't talk to anybody about
Right.
it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
That's
They
Stuck.
wouldn't believe you.
Right.
there's
Right.
so many levels of fucked up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, there's so many levels. That's just yeah.
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 with live music. These parties were called acid tests, and the culture that grew out of them played a key role in the development of the hippie and psychedelic movements a few years later. However, some of the most damaging experiments occurred at the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal, Canada. There, under the direction of infamous Scottish-American psychiatrist Dr. Ewan
Oh my
Cameron,
god.
unsuspecting patients,
Allegedly.
many of whom had common ailments such as postpartum depression, were experimented on with aggressive drug cocktails and extreme techniques.
My father was a victim of Dr. Cameron. He was a 27-year-old, healthy skier, canoeer, very athletic, and he had asthma. They told him if he went to the Allen Memorial, they could cure his asthma.
My father, Charles, was a patient of Dr. Cameron's. He had a trigeminal neuralgia, it's called, where there's a pain in the temple that radiates into the jaw that apparently is excruciatingly painful. They told him that it was psychosomatic, which it's not, but in those days, what did they know? So they sent him to a shrink. This shrink that he went to was working with Cameron, although we didn't know. So he put my father right into the program.
I was having trouble with my parents. My father and my stepmother decided to put me in the Allen Memorial Institute. They had no idea what went on in there. I was 16 when I was there.
Dr. Cameron pursued a concept he called depatterning, which was meant to reduce patients to an infantile psychological state wherein doctors could take advantage of the person's cognitive vulnerability to attempt to rebuild their mind under the doctor's control. A popular method of choice to achieve this was called psychic driving.
The day that my father was brought to the hospital, they immediately put him on insulin.
So, first of all, why does he look like he works at Arkham Asylum?
Absolutely.
Because he basically does.
Yeah,
Right.
he's like,
Because
what was
brain,
the
what does
doctor's
he look
name?
like?
Dr. Hugo Strange.
Yeah,
Dr. Hugo
He
Strange.
is Dr. Hugo Strange, man.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
And that is part and parcel for the entire program. It was run by a guy named Sidney Gottlieb. They called him the poisoner in chief. And to the outside world, he was a quaint and pleasant doctor. And that is one of the things I find most fascinating about this story is that when you think of government programs, you are thinking of square-jawed men in suits standing around total skull, like was it Mueller and Scully?
Yeah.
Mulder and
and
Scully.
Scully.
Yeah. Been a minute.
X-Files.
But no, a lot of this was done in the academic world. A lot of this was done particularly in the, at the time, rapidly developing field of mental health. And a lot of doctors went along with this because it was the only way that they could get funding for like mental health research.
Yeah, well, and let's be like completely honest and transparent here. If you're a doctor being noted in a biology book, you probably did something awesome and good. If you're a doctor being noted in a history book, you definitely didn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
You did some stuff.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Well put.
Yeah.
Yeah, well put. All right, let's see where it goes.
To put him into like an insulin coma. They took clips from the interview with the shrink and put it on tape under his pillow while he was put into the sleep treatment.
He also was put in an insulin coma for 36 days with a recording beside him saying that your mother hates you over and over and over and over and over.
That was beside my bed constantly. Repeated 250,000 and 500,000 times.
Another common method was the use of extreme Page Russell electroshock therapy.
Page Russell shock treatment is a
Now, what if they did that experiment on somebody that was like, yeah, no, I know that she hates me.
Like, like,
You're not really
you can keep
brainwashing.
saying it.
It's like, yeah, she sucks. Like,
yeah,
Right.
the sky is blue.
My opinion
Yeah,
doesn't
no.
change.
You
What
had
about
it right
it?
off the bat. You know, you can stop the tape. Right?
yeah.
Like, they had to. What were they going to do if that was the reaction? Because they were apparently just pulling in anybody.
I mean, that's when the acid comes out, right?
I guess
Like
so.
that's the backup plan. That's gotta be.
Right.
Well,
It's gotta be.
well,
I
this
mean,
guy's already
yeah.
got mommy issues.
So
So,
like, and I do want to pause here because I had this thought, right? Is that like one of the things that I think of a lot of like one of the worst parts of like Nazi Germany is like the experiments that went on in the camps, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
You hear these horror stories of like of the things that went on, and I'm listening to this stuff and I'm like, this is straight out of like Angel of Death,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
genuinely.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's cool because, you know, it was done in the name of freedom or
Mm.
whatever. Like, it's just a brutal, and someone like I as someone who has struggled with mental health like my whole life,
Yep.
and who has found a lot of help in the sort of psychiatric world. This is a fun podcast, right? This is a thing where we come on and we make jokes about the paranormal, but I do want to come out and say that this is a brutal thing that was done to people who are already incredibly vulnerable and who just wanted
Yeah.
help.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
it's
And
a
I'm,
horrifying.
see, I'm shaking because I'm
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
Well, it's not
Rightfully
even just
so.
people who had mental health issues. It was people who just had any ailment. This man had asthma, which is so common. We
I've got
literally have
asthma.
Yeah.
we have friends and people surrounding us that just have asthma and they just
Yeah.
wanted to breathe better.
Yeah.
So, you know, ignorance sometimes is bliss for some, but when you go to, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Seabass,
No.
but, you know, when you look back into past days where we didn't have actual factual data
Yeah.
and everything was running on opinion, that's why you always got to be careful about what you see on the internet and what you consume,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're consuming nothing but opinion, you're going to live by opinion. If you assume facts, you're actually getting truth.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a difference to that, right? But what you're seeing here is the truth about people that believed opinion. And so now they're being taken in for asthma or jaw pain
Yeah.
to go to this doctor who already had a different idea of what he was going to do anyway. He wasn't there to help these people at all. He was there for his own scientific facts, like a Frankenstein,
Yeah.
where he was experimenting to get his experiments out. And he was right. You can't leave. You're trapped. And you were never allowed to talk about it. And if you did, you were crazy because you were already on a psycho drug that would create hallucinations to where nobody would believe you anyway.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's the same thing with prisoners too. They were deemed inherently untrustworthy. So if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
wanted to come out and say, hey, the prison doctor spiked me with drugs and kept me awake for multiple days at a time.
Yeah, move
while people
along,
took
Prisoner
notes
102.
about
Yeah.
But-
And-
yeah.
So we don't have to go any further through the video because we're
That's fine.
I
but
would
I promised the Unabomber at the beginning, and I wanted to make sure that I follow through with that. So
yeah, before we go through that, I would like to hear a little bit more.
No.
Yeah, what do you got?
No, I was just gonna say that the other terrifying part about it is when they were talking about how they were spiking the men who were lured in by prostitutes. It's like, imagine just kind of, I mean, it's like not like a kind of abnormal situation, but it's just kind of like, imagine just going through like your normal day, your normal routine, and then all of a sudden someone just kind of drops a little thing into your drink, into your food, and it's just like, oh,
Buddy,
everything is changing.
I got news for you.
Yeah, I know, but that's just like you're going all the way back,
Yeah.
and it's like it just all of a sudden everything
how
just
it's been.
changes,
Yeah.
and you don't know, you know nothing about it,
That's right.
and you think that you're just crazy,
Yeah.
and or just who knows what you're seeing, what's happening to your body, and you try to explain that to somebody, and they just
Now,
don't.
mind you,
They just don't know.
I
what to
have
think.
friends that if they were lured in by hookers and were given drugs, they would have been like, how do we do that again?
it's a great time. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't think they're anticipating being part of us being a test subject.
No. And listen, if you've never been on it, you don't know what you're expecting.
Oh,
but
no.
if you've been on it and all of a sudden you were on it unknowingly, you would know you were on it.
Yeah.
That's one of those things for sure.
Yeah.
So Unabomber.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I promised the Unabomber. So, in addition to the mental patients and the prisoners and the men lured in by ladies of the night, they also opened up these experiments to college students across the country, because a lot of these big mental institutes were parts of universities. So they would bring in college students being paid a small amount of money for some kind of experiment. They wouldn't typically say what, and eventually they would be dosed with LSD without their knowledge, because the whole idea was that you couldn't just say, hey, we're trying to figure out what LSD is. They're trying to use LSD as a way to sort of get into and change your mind. And to do that, you need to be on it unwillingly, as the idea goes. So one of the people that allegedly was, and I say allegedly here especially because it's important, that was dosed with LSD in one of these college experiments was Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah.
When he was a professor at Berkeley, I want to say. I don't have
Michigan.
my phone.
Fact check that.
He was a professor of mathematics at one of the major West Coast institutions, and when there he did this experiment to get a little extra cash, and he was supposedly dosed with LSD. And it was in this moment, allegedly, and I say allegedly because this was a big part of his legal defense after he got caught, that put him on the path to eventually sending out those bombs.
Yeah.
It was this sort of thing.
It's like a domino effect.
It shattered his faith in institutions or whatever. This was, and again, I say allegedly, this was a big part of his legal defense. So he could be talking directly out of his ass.
It's on record.
We're sprinkling the allegedly in there.
It's
we're safe.
But if anything, if this story interests you, there is so much extra you can, the rest of the video is going to be in the description. There is so much data out there. There's been material declassified about it. There's been books written about the subject. Do more research into it with reservations, because it will ruin your day. It's certainly ruined mine.
It's not great.
Wow. And then I came here to inflict it on you.
Oh, thank you.
No, it's a good find though.
You.
I think so. All the video, I love all the videos, by the way, and the article. You guys rocked it this round for sure. But last but not least, so I have one that I brought to the stage.
The Drew special.
So
Surprise Drew.
So there's one thing that I don't like, and that's dolls.
Oh no!
So listen, I am the long lost brother of Dean and Sam Winchester when it comes to dolls. I will salt and burn those goddamn things all day. I have old porcelain dolls. People are like, "Oh well, clowns don't scare me. I can shoot a clown. I know what's going down." There's no reason a doll should be up moving around or anything into that fact, right? So I brought in a video. And before we do that, I want to make sure I'm doing a shout out here to MK Ultra for the shocking Cold War experiments hidden by the CIA, the BBC reel. Thanks for letting us react to your video. That's very interesting and head scratching type stuff goes on there.
Super interesting.
The video that I'm about to play is from my guy that I watch religiously. Shout out to Slapped Ham. These guys, they find all the newest stuff that's out there on the internet that kind of make you scratch your head. And some of it I go, bullshit. Some of it I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'd like to be there for that. And some of it's like, why did you not burn that thing? And this is one of those things, right? Man. So here we go. This is going to be about a 5-minute video, but we'll just kind of let it play through. We can talk during it too on some of it. But it kind of gives you different aspects of what's happening to this one person. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Let's see.
Hey, if you want me to leave, move.
TikTok user Kubikoi has sparked a wave of curiosity and unease with a series of chilling videos. After purchasing a doll from a garage sale for their reselling business, the user claims that strange and unsettling events began unfolding around their home, leading them to believe that the doll may be haunted or even cursed. In the first clip shared by the user, the doll is seen sitting innocently in a box. However, the situation quickly takes an eerie turn.
Fuck this.
Okay, there are just no.
Now it looks like it's looking at you, right? I mean,
Don't yeah.
right?
No.
Look, there are two things that you can buy
shit.
from the store.
The box
Yes.
appears to shift entirely on its own.
Dolls.
This initial
Usually
occurrence
not
sets
dolls
the
that look like
stage
that.
for a string of events that would leave Kubikoi and their growing
It's looking at me.
Well, so
It's looking at me specifically.
So, so it's one of those things where when I first saw this, I was like, I gotcha. You were brave enough to get up, walk to the box, and look at this thing. You could have been brave enough to grab this goddamn thing by its head, doused it with salt, put it in the garbage can, and light it on fire until it completely melted
Yeah.
away, right? But you didn't. You kept it, right? So we move forward.
audience completely shaken. The activity around the home escalates soon after the doll's arrival. In a late night clip, the user is awoken by strange noises.
Water's up.
They discover water running in the bathroom basin without explanation. Soon, more activity occurs in the bathroom.
That would actually make it a lot better.
The shower curtain is moving. When the user looks behind it, there's no one there.
No.
If you're in here, can you move the curtain again?
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks.
In another clip, the user hears noises in their bedroom.
See if anything happens. Oh, and there's knocking.
As they film, something eerie happens.
Hey, if you can hear me, can you move something? Move it again.
Not the
I
Kirby.
swear that bottle just moved.
I'm sorry, but at what point do you throw the whole
The
damn thing
water
out?
bottle shifts without any apparent cause.
Crazy. We need
Yeah.
stage
you
or
can see the
fire
water
or
inside.
something.
Just get rid of the whole house.
I hate
I mean-
it.
Desperate to uncover the truth,
Right.
Kubikoi
No!
attempts to
Ouija board.
contact any
Ouija
potential
board.
spirits
Yeah, watch
using a
this,
Ouija
watch this.
board,
No, yeah, no.
Do you have a name? What is your name?
and things don't go well.
You have to move the little plastic piece to reveal letters
Tell
and
them
spell
how it
something.
works.
That's kind of good. I'm a little less
Interesting.
there.
All right, I'm done. I'm not doing it.
The most chilling moment occurs in this final clip.
Well, it
After hearing
definitely-
more-
here, let me
As
rewind that.
two people that have had to teach a lot of people.
Interesting. All right, I'm done. I'm not doing it.
The most don't go
Let me
well.
rewind that for you.
Please do. Sorry. I was
You have to move the little plastic piece to reveal letters and spell something. Interesting. All right, I'm done. I'm not doing it.
The most
Oh, you're done now?
Now,
You're done now?
That's
you
what
brought out
crossed the line.
Ouija board
Hey, man.
Right,
He's not scared. At least not yet.
until
right.
he brings out the Ouija board and it moves.
Right. So, and I know that this partial clip ends at 6:09. We're at 4:49, so we got about a minute. But before I go into it, so as I watch it, I do several different things and try to create my own analytics based on what I see. So let's go back to the box movie with the doll in it. Okay, could that be hoaxed? Yes,
Absolutely.
100%. It was a good hoax if it's a hoax, right?
Yeah.
2, the water. Walking towards that bathroom, we didn't see what went on before that or
No.
not.
Yeah,
Now, if
That
that
could've been
handle
on.
turned on by itself, there'd be a little bit of a difference, right?
Right.
But there's also an explanation for that, especially if it's an old house.
Yeah.
3, the shower curtain, right? I'm in producing.
Yeah, I was
I'm
looking for the cut. Yep.
Right.
You're looking
For
for
the cut.
cuts or string. I'm looking for strings.
Well, to find the spot where, like, all right, they cut the footage, and then someone got behind the curtain at that moment.
If it's cut footage, but do you notice that when you look behind the curtain, you're not looking in between the curtain?
Yeah.
So in between the two curtains, the inside liner and the outside curtain, something could be attached there.
Mm.
You press the button, it pops forward. It's an air blast, whatever, right?
Yeah.
It could be something in that fact. We don't know, but this is really well done. Now the Ouija board, the bottle of water? I don't know. What would you say would make a bottle of water move like that? I don't know.
like
Well, it wasn't that filled. It was.
It could have been
empty.
I'm in my head. I'm almost thinking about like a magnet. Like if you
That's where my mind went.
If you magnetize the bottom of it, and then you got someone just out of frame, like under a table.
You ever get those little tiny magnet beads, a rare earth magnet, the little beads?
Yeah.
You put one of those guys right on the bottom of that bottle. You put something underneath. You move that thing around, that bottle's going to move.
Yeah. In terms of things moving, it's my brain's always like, okay, it's either magnets or fishing wire.
Yeah,
or
that was the other thing.
like
That was the other thing I
in
thought
that
of too.
fashion. Sure.
It's like, and that's when you look at like if the movement is like it's
choppy,
just like
Fluid.
just kind of like moving, or if it moves in a weird direction, that's like I don't know what just happened.
Right.
I don't know how you get to move in that weird like direction, or like it spins a little bit. So
all right, so this here, so let's watch this.
Most chilling moment occurs in this final clip. After hearing more unexplained noises, the user investigates.
I'm hearing voices coming from there the last like 20 minutes.
Watching that again, a shirt is hovering eerily mid-air before it drops suddenly to the ground.
Now let's pick that up.
Shirt is hovering eerily mid-air before it drops suddenly to the ground.
You see the shirt. Boom, pause. Okay. What do you got, T?
The camera stopped very suddenly.
Yes.
Right before we got to the top of the frame, and right before like whatever was holding that shirt dropped. Right before, that was a good well done camera work, but that was
I'm thinking like, okay, it's like something, there's like a little claw, you get one of those little claws that just drops it, because I'm looking at the top of the frame for like if you see like nothing between like the top of the frame and the shirt, it's like, okay, that's a lot better, but it's like for that little second, it's like I don't see the top of the shirt, like any space in between.
And that might be intentional, because as I kind of go through this little by little, right? Oh, no, we go too far. Okay. So you're seeing it, but you don't see the top of it, right? Now, who knows, right? But when you hang a shirt, that's what you get. You get that droop down from the shirt.
Yeah.
If a shirt is floating, why does it hang?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like it's being like
correct.
Yeah.
So something, if it's released, if it's something, you okay? Got some coughing going on?
Yeah, the doll's choking
You're
me.
bringing in the COVID or the vid, or do we just chop that out? I didn't know you could say that online anymore. I didn't know. COVID. I don't know. Allegedly. Anyways, so I think that so when I see things like that, I'm like, all right, this guy's building a case to make it believable at this point. If you see something continuous, I showed you guys, not you, but I showed them the red balloon.
Yes.
Now the red balloon is that would be hard to.
That's hard to
prove
do.
False. Now, and I'll describe it to you, T. A janitor in a school was cleaning a classroom late at night. The school is built on a graveyard. Number one, why they do that, who knows? However, he walks in the room. It was a party in the room. There's all these balloons. There's one balloon, and he points at it and he goes, for some reason, this balloon follows me around, and it's freaking me the F out, right? And so he's like, all right, I'm here. I'm filming now. What do you got? All of a sudden, the balloon starts moving towards him. And then he backs up out of the door and makes a left. 2 seconds later, the balloon does too.
It follows him.
It follows him.
Genuinely.
And then you see a shadow way in the distance of the locker room down, like probably like at the end of the hall, just dash across. And he's like, that's it. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that was the end of the video. That would be a hard to prove fake. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
and when you're watching it, it's like hard to look because you can see it fully.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see underneath it, you can see it all, and you're just like,
it's entirely
a balloon is so like fragile and small, and there's like very little room to like make it move the way it does.
Well, and the other thing is that it's just the balloon and a string. There's nothing at the bottom of it. It's just
you can see the
string,
you can see it in
the
full
whole
frame.
the whole length. And when it's moving, it's not the string isn't being tugged forward. The
It's
string
literally like
it's trailing
it's
behind
moving like your arm is kind of just going like this.
It's trailing behind it, if anything.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's where that's like one of the
Oh,
most
no.
crazy videos, and it's so subtle, and it's so.
It was freaky.
Because I'm pretty sure you can see the. Maybe I'm misremembering it.
Are we gonna see the balloon video again?
I'm looking for it.
New
right,
host
Florida
means
janitor,
reusing
right?
content, baby.
I don't think we actually used it on an episode.
We have
okay,
not,
cool.
so we might as well bring it up.
Might
I
as
showed them
well
in the green
do
room,
a
right?
cheeky.
All right, let's see here. We gotta bring that guy up.
All right.
One special edition video photo.
Just to, I don't know, let you guys know this school was built on a cemetery. I don't know if that helps my situation.
Why is it on the wall?
Why is it?
Previous janitors that have worked here have
a lot of dead
tried to
people out
tell
there, man.
everyone that,
It's a middle school.
you know, every night something happens, some spooky shit. I don't know, paranormal or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I didn't really believe him until tonight. I was in here cleaning up after some students had thrown a party, but what's been freaking me out is this one right here.
See?
Oh God.
Yeah.
No matter where I'm at in the classroom or what I decide to do, it just follows me. And do your thing, you stupid balloon. I got you on camera now, so let's just see that right there. Shit.
And before I let it play more, notice the string isn't being pulled.
That's the thing. It
Yeah.
moved like a solid object.
It's
Right.
like it's
As-
like
And there's no, and I've watched this several times. I see a continuous
Yeah,
flow from
yeah.
filming.
Yeah.
Right.
and you can see the bottom of it too. That's important. Like
That's right. There's no cut to it.
No.
Just
Yeah, see, he's showing the bottom of the balloon too.
I watched that.
Yeah, there's just no
Okay.
way.
I hate it. 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 Why?
Now, as it comes into the hallway, pay attention.
see.
Why?
No.
Pay attention down the hall too when you leave the camera. Get more in the hall there.
It just follows me no matter what.
Why is it always a red balloon?
Ooh,
Did you see that?
no, I can't.
No.
And I'm with that guy.
I'm going home. I'm going home.
I'm
I don't
go-
need this
I'm
job.
leaving.
I don't need
You know
this
what I
job.
mean?
I do not get paid enough.
It's great.
Stanford.
Yeah.
Right.
That is Stanford. That's not Syracuse.
But yeah, I mean, listen, great stuff today, guys.
Mhm.
Man, time goes by fast. We're at an hour and 13 in.
Look at that.
That's
Oh, good Lord.
That's awesome.
Balloon's the best.
We did get
It's-
the balloons. The
You get to
balloons.
show Tyler the balloon. That's
Yeah.
the best part.
Yeah, we'll float too, I guess.
You'll float too.
Always.
All right, just to recap, we had Haunted Island.
Yeah.
And I think we all agree that it's haunted except for Tyler over here, who
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Like,
I want to say, I don't know haunted because it didn't really give us a description of the hauntings, but I want to say that it's got bad juju there.
if
Yeah.
if there are ghosts, they're probably there.
likely, yeah.
You look
One
at
place
it,
on
yeah,
Earth.
it's just, that's what I like to call like ghost-rich environments.
Well put. Well put.
It's diversity.
If ghosts are going to be anywhere,
They're hanging out there for sure.
yeah, Murder, Death, Coal Island is probably up on top of the list.
Likely, yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then we had a glitch in reality who I believe that it was I believe it was a glitch in reality. I think that's a little hard to fake. And if it was fake, it was really good.
It was a
And
good fake.
Yeah.
different props to you at that point. Seabass, final thoughts on that?
Oh, it was just it's creepy. It's all creepy. Everything's gonna give me nightmares, and I'm not gonna sleep.
This shows. First of all, this is my favorite show out of all the shows.
And the TikTok xylophone. That is my final thought.
And then final thought for yours. Oh my God, LSD was from a evil doctor.
Yeah.
That's
Several-
literally
several evil doctors.
That's literally all I can take away from that. So guys,
Hookers, drugs, and
Hookers.
Arkham Asylum. That's what I got out of it.
hookers,
Yeah.
drugs, asylums.
Would
Stay
the
away-
balloon? Would the balloon be less scary if it wasn't red? Like if it was yellow?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think
No,
it would've-
I think so. I think it is scarier because it is a red balloon,
It's
and
a-
I do not have an answer for why.
Is it scary because it's one
Psychology.
balloon and not a pile of balloons following
Yes.
you around?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, a pile of balloons moving in sequence like
If
that.
okay, is it like balloon move, balloon move, balloon move?
imagine like
or...
six balloons moving in sequence.
This is just a part of a wider theory I have that like anything is scarier when it's in numbers. Like if I'm one-on-one with that balloon, I got it. But if there's like 12 balloons, I can't take on.
Right.
Okay,
I
so-
can't take on
so
12.
then
I only have one needle.
So
They
then
could all
let's
attack
push
me.
this idea. One regular-sized gorilla or 10,000 duck-sized horses.
Absolutely, 10,000
Yeah,
duck-sized
10,000.
horses.
You just said they're
That's
scarier
scary.
numbers.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
They're scarier.
It's scarier
They're scarier.
more.
First of all,
Oh,
I would like to see a duck-sized horse.
That
But
sounds-
there's
that
more
does-
of the thing.
that does
It's
sound
scary
adorable.
because you know you can't
Also, like
beat it.
for what it's worth, yeah, like you can just if it's just me and a gorilla, like I can see where the gorilla. For me to run, by the way, I'm not that kind of a dude.
No.
But if there's
You cannot run.
I'm like, there's dudes out there that are like, yeah, I could fight a moose. Shut up.
You're stupid.
Moose is
Anyway.
tough.
But yeah, no, if there's like 10,000 of something, I can't keep track of that. I don't know if there's like 1,000 getting behind me at this very moment.
I think the creepy thing for me about the one red balloon was what one thing was moving it or what several things.
Oh, it was
were
so
moving it.
smooth.
Yeah.
So it's the not knowing part more than the knowing part for
Mm.
me.
Yeah, it's freaky
You
as hell.
know,
It's like no,
The,
it
uh,
can't be a string. It can't be a fan.
the
it can't
doll-
be a lot of
the
things.
doll.
I hate
needs
the
to be
doll.
strangled
I
by
hate
the
the doll.
balloon, and both
Yeah.
need to be lit on
I hate
fire.
the doll. I hate.
Absolutely.
I'm also scared of dolls. Like
Nope.
I had a bad experience
Big nope.
with what was the Goosebumps one? The doll was Slappy.
Oh,
but I
Slappy.
but I forget the name. Night of the Living Dummy.
Oh, that's right.
I had a bad
a good one.
thing with that. So yeah, I'm
too.
freaked out about dolls.
Me too.
Yeah, I used to be terrified of Chucky, and I feel stupid now. But like as a 6-7-year-old watching that thing, like in the beginning, moving around, dolls are creepy.
Why were you watching?
So I'm going to show my
It's
age here a little bit. When I was young, we stayed at my aunt's house, and she collected porcelain dolls.
Oh.
That means
Those
there
are the
were
creepiest
more than
Porcelain
one
dolls are the
room.
creepiest dolls.
Because they're the most
Arguably the most
realistic.
haunted.
Absolutely.
They're the
More
most
than
realistic.
one, wall to wall,
No.
and then shelves
I'm not-
loaded
I'm not
to the
staying there.
gills of antique dolls, wooden dolls, porcelain dolls, and that's where we had to sleep when we slept.
Oh, they're
Right.
all watching you.
Then
Who's
as-
sleeping? I'm not.
Right,
I'm not sleeping.
right. Well, my brother and I, rest his soul. My brother and I, we would take turns and watch over each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, you take
Like
that.
you're
You
in a
take
war-
that shit in ships. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're in a
ships.
war zone. You gotta watch.
Yeah.
The other room was all cuckoo clocks.
Even
I'd
worse.
rather
Right.
sleep in the cuckoo
Who?
clock
Well,
room.
that's midnight. Bong, bong, cuckoo, cuckoo.
At
like,
least
all
there's a
at the same
noise.
time.
Like a noise is more comforting than
Listen,
just dead silence.
My
Who is
mom's
this
side of
woman?
the family, my mom's side of the family, her sister, this is her sister, they were collectors. Now, mind you, when they passed, there wasn't one thing in that house that probably wasn't worth, tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, everything had some kind of value to it. But then as I grew up a little bit more, the movie Dolls came out.
Oh, yeah.
And my brother and I would be like, we would force each other to watch the movie. And then it was just like nightmares of dolls. And listen, I come from an ex-nun from the Roman Catholic Church. My mother was a nun. And she would tell me creepy shit or try to convince me that there were creepy shit. So the when we moved into our house in the south side of Chicago, is where we're from, the attic, when we moved in, there was a doll.
No, absolutely not.
And my brother,
Devil's in that doll.
my brother was like, we would hear, running upstairs back and forth. We used to have a Doberman that would get on her hind legs and bark and growl at the ceiling. And so my dad was like, the house is settling. Us crazy. This is a Chicago Italian thing, right? It's bullshit. The house is settling. Nonsense. Be like, all right, Dad. Now, my brother and I shared a room downstairs. And then my brother decided, because he was my older brother, only by 15 months, that he wanted his own room. So I got kicked upstairs.
No.
Right. So now this house that was built in the late 1800s bungalow Chicago home, the angled ceiling with the yellow peeling wallpaper, flowered wallpaper, the crystal handled old wooden door that and every time you'd open and close it, and I would hear that at night. And, oh, my dad, look, you got a king size bed up there. You got it made, son. I'm like, right. I got it made.
In hell.
Right. I would sleep with my sword.
I'm sleeping with Satan.
You know what I mean? And so, so I got the attic, right? And so my mom told me, well, the Bonuses used to live here and they died here and they're here. And I'm like, thanks, creepy ex-nun from the Roman Catholic Church, that you're telling me this stuff. Why? To scare me? Why? They try to tell me that it's okay, that they're okay, they're good. I'm like, great. And so I took that doll and I threw it down the stairs. And my mom was like, where did you find that? I'm like, that's been up here since we've moved in. And she was like, this needs to go away. This is bad. Yeah. And I was like,
oh, I'm sorry. Suddenly it's okay.
Thanks, Columbo. Oh, good investigation there, Scooby. It was time at that time that I'm living. She's, oh, you're staying up there. This shouldn't be up there. This is scary. I'm like,
yeah.
But you telling me that the dead people that live in this house isn't.
Yeah.
We had water turn on. We had, but my brother was smart. My brother had an IQ of 140.
Wow.
Smart dude. And he was in science a lot. He would start, as we got older and out of the religious aspect of things, he would start explaining things to me, like old houses, how pressure builds up. Those old handles, there's no, it wasn't a gate valve. It was just, it would push that the pressure would push those valves open and the water would come through. It's got to go somewhere. And he would demonstrate it. Right. And so my belief system of the giving it power started fading a little bit. But no, listen, I believe that there's things that we can't explain, that we just, it's science we don't know is science yet. That's the best way I can put it. If it's unusual, paranormal, whatever it is, you'll find it here at the Stories of the ParaNow. We appreciate everybody coming.
Thank you.
Any last words before we sign out, folks?
Thank y'all for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Thanks for
the
coming.
opportunity.
Well, you better be on every episode.
I'm gonna be here. I'm just saying thank you. I'm just saying thank you.
It's all
from the
good.
bottom of my heart.
And Nikki, if you're listening, you're always welcome to join.
Yeah.
You're not singled out. You can definitely come back. We know you're busy. We care about you. We love you, brother.
We can scoot the my seat over
Yeah, that's right.
and make some room for our guests.
That's right. He will not. Big T will not consume you.
No.
Not yet, at least.
But stay away from red balloons, dolls, haunted islands, and sprinkle allegedly, everyone.
And LSD.
That's right. And listen,
Or
hey,
don't.
as a sign out, Cappuccino here. If you go to the old Google box, make sure you hit that YouTube live tab. 216 Creator Studios, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you ding the bell. We appreciate your support. Till next time, folks, Stories of the ParaNow.